Hey y'all, I'm Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind scrappywife.com, and today I have a traveler's notebook process for you, and I am still working in my June 2019 traveler's notebook documenting the beginning of summer, and I'm going to try something new today. One thing about the traveler's notebook format is it is much smaller, and I think it is fun to try to use smaller photos. So that is what I'm going to try to do today. I've printed out all of these photos from the first pool party of the summer, and they are all sized to be 2x2, and I'm going to make kind of a grid format, a grid layout in my traveler's notebook so that I can include a lot of pictures but in a very small format. And I'm super excited to try it. I'm going to be using some different Amy Tangerine papers to add simple embellishments, and then also utilizing my blue scraps to match the blue of the water. If you didn't get to watch my video last week about organizing scrap paper, I highly recommend going to try it. This has been a lifesaver already for me. I've been using my scrap paper so much more because I know it will be easy to find by color, and it's been amazing. So check out that video. I will be sure to link it probably up in the right hand corner. You'll see it, and then I'll link it at the end of this video. But anyway, I'm gonna jump in and try working with some of these smaller photos, doing a relatively simple grid layout, but including as many pictures as possible. I will put you on fast forward and we will get going. All right, as I get started here, I'm gonna lay out my pictures in kind of the grid formation that I think I want to go with and plan it out a little bit. I'm kind of piecing together, spacing out. There are a couple of pictures that are similar, so I don't want them right next to each other. But keep watching, because later in the video you can see I got distracted and something goes awry, and I can't blame it on anything else except summer brain working. And so just keep watching. I'll tell you when it happens. So I picked out this paper. This is from the Amy Tangerine 6x6 paper pads that you saw over there on the side that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I love Amy Tangerine's patterns, especially for the summer. I just think the bright colors and the whimsical fun just really encompass summer for me. So I'm going to try something bold here, and I'm going to mix patterns, which is not something I would normally go with. Normally I like one pattern paper and then everything else relatively solid. But I just want to really capture how crazy the afternoon was at this pool party and just how fun it was. So I've picked 3 different pattern papers that are crazy busy, and I'm going to use them plus this blue strip that I found in my stash to create the background for this page. So I'm cutting all my strips. I measured out my notebook just to be sure, 4 1/4 inches wide on each spread, and then I'm having each strip be 2 inches. Let's see, it's 4 1/4 inches long and 2 inches wide, and I'm going to stack all of them on top of each other and put them across my traveler's notebook. All right, so I'm going to start laying them out. I don't want the same patterns next to each other. That's the original plan, is to keep them all kind of separated, and then I decide, okay, this is good, and the best thing I can think of to do is to go ahead and adhere one side down. So I start with that left side and I'm adhering it down, and again, this video is just full of like tiny mistakes, but that's what happens with crafting. And I think one of the fun parts of crafting is you just go with it. You just go with what's happening. I will never be one of those crafters that perfectly measures all the things and is just full of precision and clean lines, and that's just not how my crafting goes. And if I tried to be that crafter, if I tried to be that person, then that just wouldn't be being true to myself. So as you can see, so I have this gap forming. I started at the top, I lined everything up. Well, my pages are 8 1/4 inches long and not 8 inches. And so what happened was I ended up with this gap. So I decided, okay, that's okay. I'm going to use this gap. I'm going to line up these blue strips of paper, and that is where my title is going to go. And I'm going to end up grabbing some black scrap paper to use as the base for where my title is going to live, and it's going to cover up that gap in my pages And you'll see here I'm just going to adhere down the rest of my little sheets of paper. I love the bright colors. It is busy as all get out, but that's okay. You don't have to follow a certain formula when you're crafting, and I wish more people would kind of embrace that. We spend a lot of time on YouTube and on Instagram. If you love crafting, then you're following all of those crafters that design for these scrapbook lines, and some of them have just the most gorgeous styles, but those pages often take hours and hours. And while there's nothing wrong with spending all that time, for me, with my life and how my kids are, I just don't have that time. And if I waited until I could create the perfect page, then I would never get to work on any projects. And if I waited to share a project until I had the perfect project, then I would never share. And I feel really strongly that maybe we should share some of the more imperfect ones. So not saying that this one doesn't come out well. I like how it comes out, but just letting you know. So I have that black strip. It covers the little gap that I had going there, and then I'm going to use it as the base for where my title will live. And so again, here I'm laying out the different pictures, and I start adhering them down to fit in, and some of them I'm going to end up cutting a little bit to trim and make them fit in. I don't want to cover up that black strip of paper because I want it to be solid. Like I said, that's where my alpha is going to live for the title, and I don't want to overlap that at all. So you'll see me kind of hand trimming and fitting some of the pictures in, and that is where things start to go awry, because as soon as I start moving things around and changing my mind, you'll see what happens next. All right, did you catch it? Did you see what's just about to happen? I messed up my grid pattern completely. I have those two pictures lined up and I have no idea why. And I will be completely honest with you, I did not even notice until I was editing this video. I took pictures of it. I was in love. I'm still in love with how this layout came out. I still think it's adorable and cute and fun and whimsical. And I had no idea until I was editing this picture that those came out like that. So weird, so crazy, but that's fine. Mistakes happen, and maybe that's a fun mistake, and I'm happy with the layout in the end, so I'm not going to go back and change it. It's not going to bother me. That's just not the type of crafter I am, and I encourage all of you guys, just embrace what comes out. What product, like what the ending product is not the most important. I had a great time looking at these pictures, remembering this fun pool party event that happened on the last day of school in June, and I don't care at all that that layout is a little bit off from what I had planned. Now, while I was kind of babbling on right there, I used these little square cutouts. Again, this is from that same 6x6 paper pad, and I cut out a few of the words that said, "Oh yeah, you're the sweetest, love this, in good company." And I'm going to use those to break up the grid a little bit, to cover up some of the corners that looked a little bit awkward. And I'm going to mount them onto black scrap paper so that it gives a little border and allows those pieces, those what I'm going to call ephemera pieces at this point, to be set off a little bit from the picture and bring a little bit of attention to them. And it also picks up that black that is in that black stripe where my title will live. Now that those are adhered down, I am gonna go ahead and look for my title. I'm just gonna title it simply Pool Party, and I grabbed some Bella Boulevard Illustrated Faith alpha letters that I've had forever, and I'm gonna place them right here. I decided to move them down. I thought, well, I'll have them come up on the blue, but no, I'm gonna move them down, have them live on the black. And I know a lot of people probably think this is busy. I love all the things. I want to use all the supplies. I don't want to hoard my supplies. I love collecting supplies. I love looking at beautiful supplies, and if that's your hobby, just looking at the supplies, then by all means just keep them lined up in your craft room. But I want to use all the things. So I'm going to cut up the paper, use all the patterns, and just go for it. So I like how the white alpha is popping off that black just like I anticipated it would. But now I think it's probably time to add some different embellishment pieces, which is what I'm going to search for at this point. Now, I think I could use Tim Holtz phrases on every layout. Am I the only one? Is anyone else obsessed with the Tim Holtz phrase book? This happens to be the snarky book, which at first I was like, oh, maybe this won't work, but I think it does. Some of the phrases I chose were when in doubt, vacation, I am fabulous, relax, we're all crazy, it's not a competition, and why limit happy to an hour? And even though some of the quotes end up being real snarky, I think these fit perfectly with the event. So I choose 4 different quotes, put them in the 4 corners, and then I'm going to outline them in black with my Micron black pen again to make them pop. And then that black border is kind of a consistent element with the paper squares that are on it, with the black paper banner that's going across for the title, and then the black border around each quotation is going to create that consistent element. And also it's now bringing that black to 3 different parts of the page, which if you study art at all, you know that groups that are in odd numbers like 3s or 5s are what is more pleasing to the eye in the end. So bringing that black to the 3rd element of the page helps balance it out. Now it's already a busy page, but I looked through, pick out a few other elements, some arrows to really point out Pool Party and balance out the arrow that I found there on the left side. And then I'm going to add some journaling with my white Uniball Signo gel pen. Really pops off the blue. Love that I can write in white. I think that's just a fun element, something a little bit unexpected, since normally we journal with our black pens. This was a fun layout to do. Yes, I know it maybe was full of mishaps, but that happens, and my wish for everyone is to just embrace that and embrace your crafty side and love the little mistakes and celebrate them for what they are. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button and also that little bell for bell notifications so you don't miss a future video. I hope you have a great day, and as always, keep it creative.